Hi, me, who's going to watch this in like a little bit. I just need to kick off some of the cobwebs, I think. I haven't done this in 10 days now, recording anything at all. Just letting the energies settle for a minute. I'm doing this while Mabel's outside because I figure I'll stop this and actually record something for the YouTube channel. Well, if you're watching it, it's because I watched it and said, you know what, good enough. I'm making this for myself to watch after I record it at some point. But I can also already tell that I'm posting it on YouTube. So, hi, welcome to a pretty low energy video. I'm Charlie, Akashic record reader, medium, multidimensional channeler, neurodivergent millennial, and person who got home today. It's 1:01 p.m. on the 11th of February. I'm home after spending a week inpatient at St. Vincent's in the psychiatric unit. Yeah, again. Okay, well, you're going to see me just doing my normal life stuff, and I'm just going to talk because, yeah, this was just going to be me talking until I got Mabel, but she's ready to come inside. So if you want to sit back, relax, get yourself some water, and just stick around to hear what that's all about, and the fact that I've already changed my mind about who this video is for, then please get some water. Take a break with me. Center yourself, and I'll be right back. I'm just gonna get Mabel in. You know, this is the 4th time in 2 years I've been in a fucking psych ward for a week. Official diagnosis: bipolar with severe mania and psychosis. Yep. Which, okay. I've already told y'all that I've, got the dissociative identity disorder. I prefer the term collective being, but until we have, it's hard enough to get people to call it DID, right? So calling it something else. What can I say? I dream big. I dream big. And you're going to hear Mabel barking because, like, I don't know, just kind of trying to be here in my home, just being myself. Oh, you want to go in the crate? You want a cookie for the crate? Yeah. Okay. You clicked on this video because you knew how long it was going to be. And yeah, I know. I get animated during a bunch of things, but I'm not particularly high energy today. I'm happy to be home. I might pause here in a bit and put her in the crate. So prepare for that, I guess. I'm just talking to you because I know you're my friend. Okay, yes. I'll give you the treat. I'll give you the treat. All right. I get it. I got you. I got you. Thank you. And thank you for your patience. Yeah. It's really a challenge to be going through any kind of spiritual awakening anyway. And when you have DID, you're just stuck in trauma loops. You're stuck in fucking trauma loops. And I know it's not exclusive to those of us that are multiples, but you ever just relive the same type of experience over and over again? Yeah, you're in a trauma loop. Um, you can see those kinds of things easy in people who speak in loops. I often jump around, and I do repeat things. We as humans, we repeat things. It's just what we do. But yeah, like I'm just going to tell you the sequence of events, even if you've been here for a while and you know my whole deal. But in March of 2024, I went up to Vermont and saw the solar eclipse. Had a wonderful time with friends that were kind of new and also friends I didn't really know very well. It was like a four couples, no, three, some couples and people staying in a lodge in a state park because one of the women's mother was a ranger, is a ranger. I haven't talked to these folks since because had big changes. We were us at the time. I had come in just like a couple days before because new altar formation can happen anytime for DID folks, and I was created. I'm Charlie. I'm who we changed our name for because it's all been part of a big life plan, all been part of a big get through life, survive until this point, and then big integration. Everybody leaves for the most part and keep going, but now keep going in the spiritual path, in the spiritual world after having not. After having been in the just do the best I can and learn as much about psychology as I can and be a helper wherever I can and work in nonprofits, be a person for whom we could coexist as well as we could. But went to Vermont, had an absolute blast, was definitely taking in way too much cannabis and alcohol because it was an absolute party. Um, during the solar eclipse, because we were kind of right on the edge of where it was going to be covered to the point that I got to see the little flash of like the little diamond ring. Very dangerous. Definitely killed a few retina cells during doing that, but it was really cool. And the ranger who was her, she takes care of the lodge and anybody who stays there. She played Dark Side of the Moon while it was happening. Oh, it was magical. My God, it was magical. And the next day, we fell into a full trance channel state. So we were heading home and started just getting into that. I now know that it's trance channel state. We didn't know that at the time. And spent the next few days in bed with substantial fever. Didn't know we had the flu, but we had the flu. Um, my biggest indicator was when we were calling for our deceased dog Lewis alongside Corbin because we'd lost Lewis the year before, and yeah, no, had been calling him like he was here. In addition to just all of the akashic scenes that play out, because what was actually happening was everyone internally was having their life review. Because when you have DID and you go into a death spiral, which is what we were going into, flu stopped our heart. Flu completely overwhelmed the entire circuitry of this body. And it took about 5 days of Earth now time to be both here and experiencing their life reviews as they were transitioning out. Learned all about how altars are formed and the templates that get pulled in for that, because you do need a grounded, who are you, what are your interests, what is it to be a person. Every altar has their own, and you come in with the template that you sort of create on the other side before you come in. And body can pull in templates, pulls it in usually from the soul's lineage, because that's just the easiest way, but any other entanglements can also form it. anyone with DID who has an internal alter state that's a character from a show or a movie, that happens. That's a template from that character because that character was written by someone who channeled it out from the Akashic realm, which is just someone else's lived experience. You can do that. That's how it happens. And I've been just learning all of this by experiencing it. And let me tell you, you try to talk to anybody else about it, especially anybody who claims to know about DID, and they look at you like you're crazy and they call you a number of things. They give you a number of diagnoses. And I'm not saying that I disagree. I really genuinely think that every single thing in the DSM, mm-hmm. Yeah, sure. Yeah, at least a little bit. Because when you have DID, you have like everybody. And it's not just even having DID. This is kind of what humans are now. And we're much more multifaceted than we allow ourselves to think we are. It's why people have such a hard time with being okay with change and being okay with new and letting go of things that are just not serving them anymore. Back to my story. Had an amazing time. Got to see the solar eclipse. I'd only ever seen it once before. I really recommend making it a goal in life to be witness to one at least once. There's just there's magic to it. And even that time, the eclipse wasn't quite as impressive as the first time I'd seen it, because the first time I'd seen it, I saw swirls around everything. It was wild. Second time, not so much, but the little like bing of diamond was really fun. And then yeah, we went into the spirals and died. Body died. I actually went into nothingness when the body died. I didn't get to like see the body from a different angle or even go to another plane of existence. I had to stay in body because I inherited the body as mine. And Gaia did show up. When the heart stopped, she showed up. Told me I had to become stone, and I managed to get kind of tethered into the body and got completely still. Then the body started doing yoga. By the way, I did not feel a heart beating at any point during all of that. I didn't. I don't know how long it lasted either. It just happened. I did spontaneous movements on the ground. My body was doing the yoga because I was laughing. I remember just, I couldn't like laugh in the body, but just internally I was like, some people see angels. I'm just having corpse yoga. That was what it was. And at a point, after seeing that and sort of visually being able to see the formation of an island, almost like it was being fast forwarded, I now understand that as just Akashic downloads and understanding the process of life formation itself. I was going through a rebirth, a birth portal, really. And then at a point I said, I can feel now, because I could finally feel my body, and all I felt was lava in my chest. That's how I described it. I was like, I specifically asked Gaia, what do I do about the lava rocks in my lungs? And that was when she said, now you must become water. And I crawled into the shower, flipped on some, and that's where our husband found us. And that's when he took us to the ER, told them about the high fever that now was gone thanks to the hour plus of very cold water that I'm pretty sure was part of what helped the heart beat. It's possible the heartbeat itself was just very faint. I obviously don't know. I call it a near-death experience. Maybe it was just a spiritually transformative experience. I don't fucking know. Does it really matter? I'm sure to some people it does, but the doctor at the ER took one look at my husband after my husband had said, well, she's got DID and this, like just trying to give a history, a patient history. The doctor said, she's singing right now. Because I sing to regulate my central nervous system. I was singing. She can't have DID. That's too rare. She only thinks she has it. She's clearly having a manic episode due to bipolar. They didn't swab me to check if I had something, even though my husband said, well, she hasn't slept for 5 days, hasn't really eaten or had any water for 5 days. Um, Again, fever, because he knew. He fucking knew. Didn't swab to check for anything. Did not give me an IV drip, even though he had said she has not had water in 5 days. No, they just straight up put me in the psych ward on a very high dose of lithium that obviously I can't prove it, but everything in my understanding, we weren't all supposed to go fully offline, but lithium, if you have DID, lithium will in many ways permanently shut down certain alters. You really shouldn't be on lithium if you have DID. And since bipolar seems to be the catch-all for everything in a hospital these days, you shouldn't be dosing people with high doses of lithium if they've never been on medication before. Because I'm allergic to a lot of medications, so we just don't take it. We haven't. That was the first time. Had this incredible, incredible opening and expansion experience where I had to say goodbye to everyone in here. And I did. I had to say goodbye to everyone. Woke up in the fucking psych ward, unable to speak because I'd been singing so much. And I hadn't had water because they just put a cup in my room. They didn't like help or monitor. I didn't have the IV drip that I desperately needed. I'd been coughing a lot. Yeah, halfway through that stay, they did find a nurse in the psych ward because you go into a holding facility area first, and then you go into the actual unit. And it was in the actual unit. I was coughing so badly. A nurse there got me a swab test, and I was put in a conference room overnight, and a mask was put on me. I did get to have my own room for a little bit, so that was nice. Yeah, that was my treatment at Yale. Awful hospital. Fuck, never go there. That's not just me that says that either. So when I got out, I tried talking to lawyers. I tried talking to people, and the comments that I heard all the time were, "Oh, you went to Yale? Oh, don't go there." I'm like, I moved here a week before that happened. How the fuck was I supposed to know that? You know, people who sell houses, realtors, maybe just leave a little. Let's just a little. Hey, by the way, don't go to Yale for anybody that like would, who moves here. Just saying. Just saying. Still would have moved here. Just would have gone to a different place. Where I just was, St. Vincent's, honestly, not bad. My only complaint was that I wasn't allowed to have a pen, which I was allowed to have at Yale. So, arbitrary rules kind of. Let me tell you, I want to go in like so many different directions on this. I just, fine. I'll stick to the main, because that experience of waking up, being mistreated, waking up with my head a complete fog, hearing no internal conversations whatsoever, which is not how we've ever operated, having the entire physicality feeling the effects of such a severe flu that the heart stopped, no intravenous fluids or flu medication whatsoever, being unable to speak, not having my glasses because my husband had taken them, which, I mean, if you ever meet me and you ever want to try my glasses on to see how bad my vision is, you can already see, look at the refraction, right? Like, my head is here. What? Yeah. Yeah, I can't see. I couldn't speak. I asked for a pen and paper so I could at least tell my care team who I was. No one gave me anything. In fact, the doctor made a pretty annoying comment about how comfy the chair I had just spent the evening in that conference room looked. It was a very traumatizing experience. And it wasn't even just traumatizing for that, because those friends that I'd also just spent time with, you could argue that I was really only friends with one of them. And she was the one that my husband reached out to for help, for aid. And not only did she tell him to take me to a psych ward, like almost immediately, when he was like, I don't know what's going on with Charlie, but they're non-responsive kind of, and are just in the bedroom and in bed singing and talking to no one, and I don't know what's going on, because yeah, neither of us had experience with channeling. He didn't know what was going on. She said take her to the psych ward, which that just fucking sucks. And if you've never been in a psych ward, don't recommend people to go to one. Like, just don't do that. And then when I was awake and kind of able to talk to him, one time I just got mad. I got mad that this is what had happened. I got mad that he hadn't advocated for me. I got mad that I was in a psych ward instead of having my physical needs taken care of. And he had been talking to her, and her like advice to him was, well, you should just stop going then. Stop visiting her. If she's going to be like that, stop visiting. So once he showed me all the texts back and forth between the two of them, when I got home, I completely blocked that friend. I was like, you know what? No. So I had this relationship trauma on top of all of it just sort of happen all at once while I had lost all of my family. And I had these doctors not caring a flying fuck about the physical needs that I had. All they care about was, no, you have bipolar. No, you have bipolar. No, you have bipolar. I'm like, this has never happened before. The flu was involved. No sleep for multiple days was involved. So yes, psychosis makes sense. But I even had my therapist from Massachusetts that I had to leave because I came to Connecticut. She advocated for me. She tried to. She called several times. She talked to several of the people there. She tried to get answers and tried to get me out because of how fucking traumatizing it is to be in a psych ward with people constantly screaming, with people who were there waiting to go to whatever prison facilities they were apparently going to next because of the violent actions that they had taken. Psych wards are scary. You don't get to sleep. The mattress is literally pain-inducing. And that one we had communal bathroom situation, which meant there was urine all over the floor all the time, and the world's smallest shower. Not to mention everyone worked there. It looked like they looked like they shouldn't be working there because of how awful it was of an environment for them. So that all set me up to have a huge looping experience of events. It's kind of like when you get out of a bad relationship and you fall right back into another relationship that's exactly the same fucking relationship with a different person, right? Experiences kind of do the same things, and when they're traumatizing enough, they create this magnetism, and they get tethered to the celestial patterns that we all experience. All right, Mabel, I'm going to let you out. We're going to be cool, right? Try not to bark, okay? And based on the last week of having to stay compliant, non-crazy person, it makes me feel like even saying any of that is just someone looking at me and saying, you're just fucking crazy. That's what I keep experiencing here. I did go back into a trance channel state. I'm so annoyed because the guy, like, I'm trance channel states are something I get into whenever I'm channeling to a point where I have an active download that needs to come through. It's the same for any channeler. We can get into trance channel states. Most of the time, if you're doing any sort of plant medicine, you get into a trance channel state. I've been doing plant medicine rituals to induce trance channel states as a means of experimentation and as a means of knowing what happens when. And I've been guided to do it. Guided by Gaia, guided by my own higher self, guided by what is the next right thing, you know? And I knew something was coming. I knew there was going to be a big thing. I knew I was not going to be online basically for a little bit. I had set up all of these podcast interviews and that and my website in the week leading up to all of this happening. I'd been getting messages about, another pivot, messages about, just messages about an energetic change, something big. Because I even rescheduled a number of things. I thought I was coming down with COVID. Thought that's what it was. After having spent over a week around a bunch of people in a hospital, now I definitely have more COVID symptoms than I did before I came in. So probably, right? It's always an upgrade too. But I rescheduled everything to be weeks out. And I don't normally do that, especially not when I'm excited about something like a new podcast or new something that I've created. But I did. I had a very clear pump the brakes, put it to after the eclipse, the next eclipse, February 17th. There's a solar eclipse. I'm not going to be able to see it based on where I am, but that doesn't change it from just being a thing on the planet, right? So I don't know what's coming after that. But I can confidently say that everything for me started with the solar eclipse in 2024. And by today, but with consideration for the next week, this is me kind of pivoting back onto a track that I was on prior to it. So it was almost like I was heading down one very specific path, had to do one of these numbers for a while, then one of these, then one of these, and now I'm back where I started. If you look at my Spiritual Pivot podcast imagery, one of them is just a loop-de-loop. One of the ways in which we go through life is a loop-de-loop. Sometimes several loops. So my path from solar eclipse to solar eclipse, and there's been other ones, but these are kind of it. It's kind of that, right? Some of us have to go through trauma loops to get back to whatever path we may have been on for a while. Wherever it was we sort of started. And I can't help but think that if you're someone watching this, you've been on a similar loop-de-loop path. Maybe you've had more, maybe you've had fewer, maybe you've only had one. But there's at least been something that you have re-experienced over and fucking over again. And let me tell you, if you've had it as a 4-time thing, then we are murmurating together in this life. Well done. I've been told I'm over mine. Just going to check with Gaia real quick. Indeed, there is no more need for any of those stays, nor is there a need for the level of trance channeling that you perform. Yeah. Because let me tell you, this time, oh, woof. All I can say is that whoever it was, as far as people, paramedics, believe it got involved. I will eventually tell this more in depth, but let's just say I was doing some trance channel state stuff. Started on the 30th of January. I didn't sleep. 31st came, more bigger trance channeling. Didn't sleep. Kind of thought maybe I had for a couple of hours, because that's also a part of all spiritual awakening things, is your sleep gets disturbed. And I really thought I was, but no, I wasn't. I wasn't sleeping. And by the second, these scripts started being what was being performed through me, as though I was an actress. Yep, I went full actress. 3 days of no sleep, I went full actress, acting out a number of things that definitely are not me. And when I got to the hospital, there was a what are we calling this? Post-apocalyptic Gaia-led show tune medley. I was singing a lot. Yeah. And doing one of these, with Gaia. Like, oh, oh, I hope those people got at least entertainment out of what it was that I was doing because I am an entertainer, right? So I'm trying to be. If I could stop having takeovers of my fucking life, that would be delightful. But in truth, this entire experience, holding on, basically, I've been holding on to trauma loops because I know how to get out of PTSD. I have all the tools. I have all the coping skills. I mean, you go through life being beaten so badly by everything that you have to, that you are biologically created to be multiple. You're resilient. Been through enough shit in your childhood, healed enough of that shit. Congratulations. You're one of the resiliency experts of the world. Bend but not break, right? Yeah. Very bendy, very flexible when things are traumatizing. Very able to move past it, very able to let it go. But the psych ward experience, I struggled to, you know? If anything, being there this time, it was basically a re-encoding of what the first experience was like, and then the second, and then the third. They were all a little different. First time was the worst. This time, well, I was frustrated on Monday that they weren't going to just fucking let me go home because it's Wednesday now. I'd been there for a week, and like once I have gotten sleep, this is the same pattern. Once I have gotten sleep, there is no more psychosis. Like there just isn't. Sleep is all I need. Sleep is all I ever need. But I do need an intense tranquilizer. Oh man, 2 days of sleep on a nice tranquilizer. I wasn't mad. I wasn't mad, and especially because of the fact that I did use like resources, and I was fucking crazy. Like, kind of felt like being in hospital jail. I'm sorry to the world. Yeah, that's kind of what I had to be. But like Monday, I got frustrated that they were waiting until Wednesday to release me because it just felt arbitrary and completely unnecessary. And they did have composition books that they gave. A little tip if you ever get in a psych ward, just keep asking for stuff. Be polite and be like, do you have this? Do you have that? Can I have this? Can I have that? Like, just ask. Yeah, you just ask. They don't tell you these things. You have to, like, it's like an if you know thing. So, like, it benefits to be a frequent flyer there, which, oh, yeah. But this is how much I wrote in poetry. I only have that much left. More than half. Just writing poems about what I was experiencing, about what I saw. And this is my next book, actually. Yep. Welcome to Poetry from the Psych Ward. My fuck, why am I forced to be here for more days than I've already served? Artistic expression. I'm not allowed to use a pen. Enjoy my therapeutic poetry, future me and future reader, if I publish this. That's my title page. I'm frustrated that these are just experiences that I've had to have while I've been continuing to build up my life, build up my business, build up my spiritual practice itself, build us a bridge out of here. I don't like this state. I don't I don't like living here. And it doesn't really seem to mesh very well with who I am, right? Because these have been events that have been occurring in celestial patterns every 7 months. And the ones leading up to this, I had Arcturians telling me, like, hey, it's about to happen now. And I didn't know what now. I didn't know what they were referring to because the guides don't often tell you things. If I had been told, hey, you're gonna lose it, not lose it, but you're gonna be in a trance channel state where we are going to be doing things to sort of test how others react. Um, and then you're going to have to be in a psych ward for a week, I would have done what I could to avoid it. I would have found a spiritual emergency practitioner, an emergency. There are people who there are people that can help. I've actually already reached out to one because she's a therapist, and I did not know she was around here. My husband actually found her because that was part of his coping was, okay, well, let me see how I can be an advocate for her this time. Because she, like, I didn't have to call rescue squad. I didn't have to this because I made a public display of myself. Yeah, yeah. Had an ambulance called on me, like for me, right? Because I was actually, and I'll admit this, I fucking hate that this happened, but I was acting, and then I was acting, but playing out the role of abused woman whose partner had drugged her, basically. And let me tell you, if that's people's experience in my area, if they actually are abused by their person and they tell people that they're scared for their safety or they're scared for whatever, guess how little anybody in the medical field gives a shit. That actually kind of surprised and bothered me that, sure, what I said was not accurate, but I was crying. I was kind of passing out because honestly, just the exhaustion. I wasn't like fully passing out, but I was just like, body just would fully go. I had to be in my back seat the entire time watching this shit go down, going internally, mentally going like, oh my God, why is this what's happening? Why? But it was Gaia led to basically try to bring a little bit of awareness, I think, to my own self about how the isolation of this place and just the systems that exist here. I mean, it's, if you're a person who really needs help, I'm sure there are places and are people that can help. But if my husband had been abusing me and had, put something in me that had resulted in a psychotic thing, which, high doses of THC result in no sleep for myself and psychosis, but so too do other things for other people. It wasn't until my absolute last moments this morning that during the little, like, everybody's here and I'm just going through my checklist, was I even asked, do you feel safe at home? First time. And even then, it was asked sort of with this, but we've seen that he's here, so, like, clearly it's fine. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know if I just played out someone else's script here, a past thing that they have experienced. I don't know. I don't know exactly why I did that. I can ask, and we will tell when it is appropriate. Okay, well, all I know is when Charlie doesn't sleep for 3 days, Charlie turns into an actress for everybody else, for their benefit. I also don't know why I specifically singled out a very, like, one dude in the waiting ER area. Like, you go into the ER, but you're going to the psych unit, but you have to wait until there's available beds because there's obviously never, like, the demand is higher than the supply. So you have to wait in an area that's just you in a bed in a room. And yeah, there was one dude who kept being the center of my, like, hand in front of, because Gaia says no to you. Like, I don't know what that was about. I don't know what the hell that was about. And we are not telling you. That is for not you. Perfect. Do other people go into trance channel states that are basically psychosis? I mean, I know, right? She cute. Is that what a trance channel state is for? I haven't had a chance to talk to other people. Like, it was fun though, because while I was there, I finally started reading this. And that just was so soul soothing to not have a fucking Western thing. Like, just, I don't have a lot of Eastern philosophy education. It's really nice. I caught up on a lot of reading while I was there, because I used it. I was just like, you know what? I've been down this road before. I've done this already. I know how to just sit and be. I know how to be bored. I know how to take some time to myself. I know how to be compliant. I know how to do all of these things. And even though I don't want to do it again, I used my time there as wisely as I could. And I urge that for anybody else that happens upon this, and then I don't know, maybe you will also have to deal with a psych ward situation. Oh, sorry. One more moment. Let's all take a nice deep breath. Hey, hi, hey, hi, hey, hey. Yeah. Can I put you in the crate for a little bit? Can we do that? Can we do that? Yeah, can we do that? Thank you, my love. Thank you, my love. I know. We'll play in the mud, okay? We'll play in a bit. I don't think you'll have to deal with what I dealt with. Just putting that out there. Mine's not really a follow and do. My path and the things that I share, they're very much, hey, I went through this experience and now you don't have to. And one thing I will recommend is, especially if you know you have DID, lay off the weed. Lay off the weed. I know. I know. I know how that sounds, but if you have DID and you are regularly consuming cannabis and you are doing spiritual stuff, like you're regularly consuming spiritual content, you're getting really into tarot, you're doing channeled things. If you have DID, you have better discernment internally as far as who's talking. You just do. Especially if you've been working on internal communication. You just fucking do. Weed, it's kind of a speed train to integration. And that's great, but you can get spun into a trance channel state. And then whoever it is that is just needing to be part of that experience and fronting, that's who gets stuck fronting. And it's not pleasant, and it's... You don't want the folks who have not been doing the spiritual work to be the ones fronting when you're in a trance channel state. Because when that happens, you get to watch yourselves, but you get to just be the fucking passenger, consciously aware the whole time. And you're just watching all this shit happening in ways that are deeply, deeply disturbing. And yeah, obviously there's also just the blackouts and the not remembering. That all can happen too. But seriously, weed, in ceremony, in safety, and somewhere that is positioned to take you on a journey of healing and integration while you do it, do that. I know it costs money, but do that instead of what I've been doing. Because, yeah, still have DID. And in fact, this whole thing was literally so that I could get Scout back online, because she went offline the first time. She was punched off. Lithium. Lithium is a no for DID brains. It just is a no. I will argue, hey, anybody in the psychological community who's like, I don't agree with that, hey, come talk to me. I'll give you a nice education on where that information is coming from. And if you still don't believe me, then fine, go do the fucking research. Oh, wait, there's not a lot of research on DID? Huh. Maybe you don't understand us as much as you think you do. Lithium kills. It kills alters. It kills internal system states. It just does. Other mood stabilizer things, antipsychotics, they don't seem to do that. Lithium, though? Mm-mm. And sedatives are always just a plus. I don't know. So yeah, I now have Scout resurrected, basically, because while parts of full body don't integrate out for a few years, that's the other part of it. Integration, it's not just a one-off thing. Everyone who went through their life review, they did die, but there were still segments of the entire circuitry that the body needed to change over, and it changes it over slowly, safely, in a way that you could argue is a second puberty. It's an adult body. It's been through a lot of trauma. You can't just change shit over. It's not how it works. You can take alters offline, you can basically put them in a coma, because that's kind of what happens. But you still need to be able to access internal parts in the cyclical, because that's the thing too. It's all based on cycles. It's all based on just way, way more than the psychological community gives a shit about. And I don't want people to end up in a psych ward situation because of how traumatizing it just is inherently. That's not a safe place to do anything. It's hospital jail. You have now done something that is deemed dangerous, so hospital. And yeah, I ran out of my house with just my, big comfy robe on and socks in 10-degree weather. Ran down the road, made myself loud, whooped, so that the neighbors could see. I made a full spectacle of myself. We'll see how. I'm hoping that no one really saw it. Like, that's my hope. But hey, if people were mean or judgy or whatever, then I hope I gave them a show. It's very, I would say it's quiet, but like, if I have to hear fucking gunshots all the goddamn time in my house, y'all can hear me whoop once in 2 years. Also, for real, whooping in the winter when there's snow on the ground and the trees are bare, ooh, it echoes beautifully. Beautifully. And yeah, ran out onto a main road and was kind of seeking help. It was a full movie, y'all. It was a full movie. It was crazy. It was crazy. I'm just watching myself going, why am I doing this? Like, because you're on a movie set. I'm like, I'm not on a movie set. Yeah, but you can't turn this one off because you've hit play on the Trance channel's like download of what this is. So I acted out someone's screenplay. I don't know whose. I'm pretty sure that that at least one movie already exists like it. This is why you don't go into acting when you're doing channeling, I think. You get connected in weird, quantumly entangled ways that you're just like, damn it. Hey, anyone I've met on like a set, if you ended up doing some sort of like, I'm a survivor of intimate partner violence and I had to run out in the street in freezing cold weather to like get away from my abuser. Apparently, I was connected to that, that thing that you did. And I played it out myself until I got to the hospital when I had my own original score, Broadway rapture event. I don't really know, honestly. It was very muddled and very all over the place, and just a lot of Gaia being really like intense, because Gaia does definitely get really intense when you channel out some of the more anger filled things that Gaia has to say, because Gaia is not all love and light. Let me tell you, I haven't really channeled out most of Gaia's like opinions. It's genuinely part of where I remember setting my path to during the in between time, because I got to write my own life script. Oh, I let's just say I hope that I actually do get to properly perform Gaia stuff and not just do it in the holding pen for the psych ward for the. They were my test audience, I guess. They were my test audience. Uh, they did compliment my voice. The nurses that like had to sit outside of my damn room because I was being such a nuisance. Yeah, when you're a nuisance, you get assigned like a nurse shadow. Um. Ooh, you want to know one other really sad thing? Okay. At one point, because I was being loud and obnoxious, right? They gathered a group of people who were like mainly security people. Again, the one dude that I was like, I don't know what that's about, but Gaia singled him out in a way that was not good, not a good thing. But they were pushing me into my room so that they could like, basically so that they could give me a Thorazine like injection. And obviously I was not going, so they were physically forcing me, and that's not hard to do because I'm pretty weak. And I also hadn't slept or eaten or had any water for days and days and days, so but at one point I had two dudes like holding me down. And God, all I could think in that moment was, the pressure points of where they're hitting right now feel really nice. Like that was all I could think. And in that moment I was like, oh man, I'm really touch starved right now. This is like these people using their full body weight to like hold me down feels like a big security blanket right now. Ugh. Yeah. Anybody else just you're trying to be a professional in this field and you're pretty good at what you do. I'm a good Akashic record reader. I'm not going to like I'm not going to give you other people's information because that's a complete breach of confidentiality. I mean, not that we in this field have those kinds of things formally, but I apply it to myself. I'm not going to tell you about people, but if you ever run across someone who's ever had an Akashic record reading from me, I believe that they will have good things to say. I did go through a certification program. Oh, and speaking of pieces of paper with my name on them, I did just keep this out because I just want to show you that, at least at St. Vincent's, when you leave, they infantilize you like the entire time, but when you leave, you get one of these. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um. What? Also, if you're gonna start a quotation, please at least end it. I'm gonna correct this real quick because it bothers me. Okay, we're just gonna move it a little. I'm so sorry that I'm kind of going all over the place, but you're here for the disclosure content, and if I'm willing to like be catty and read people's emails on here, I'm willing to also tell you about what my fucking life is right now. Because obviously, this is my life. This is my fucking life. Ugh. And yeah, I have outpatient things, and yeah, I'm on a mood stabilizer. I'm doing it for now. And yeah, I know how that sounds to everyone who's like, but you have bipolar. Friends, I'm just telling you, there's something else going on because I don't have the same. I do have expansion, retraction, expansion, retraction. I do have a lot of emotions. I also have a lot of trauma, and I also have a lot of like life not working right now. Like a lot. What I feel, feelings wise, and how it comes and goes, that's kind of just more consistent with life being deeply hard. I've been through life being deeply hard before. The no sleeping and things that get spun out, they're guided. They're intentional. Am I happy that I spent a week in a psych ward? No, not even a little bit. But I got another piece of paper with my name on it. I've finished and then have been reading through other books that I had on my to read list. I started another autobiography just because I got tired of reading and was like, I want to write now. And I have my literal next book now all done. Book of poetry from the psych ward about I'm just going to read you the first poem, okay? Cuz this is what you can expect. Pens are dangerous. I write with a golf pencil because pens are a mysterious danger. Markers are plentiful, yet unreliable, as caps return to keep the moisture is beyond the capacity of most subdued by lithium and thorazine. My fingers crave the smooth flow of my preferred uniball, but there is a rekindling of childhood that a composition book and pencil provide. Perhaps I will befriend the pencil once more, or, better yet, I will appreciate my pens upon returning home. That's my first poem. There's like 55 of these of just my observations of my time in the psych ward. Because like shit just happens. Shit happens. You can let it pull you down and into the depths of despair and keep you there for so long that you have to repeat it over and over and over again, which you might just have to do anyway for a while because trauma comes off in layers. And you can just accept where you are. You can accept that you're stuck. You can accept that there just is a temporary bullshit thing that's happening. You can be terrified the whole time you're there too because you meet a bunch of people who've been there for months and you're like, God, what do I do to get out of here? If you do find yourself in the psych ward, anything that's high dose, and do ask, say, I want low dose, or unless of course you're already on stuff, then that's its own thing. But if you're like me and you find your way there, just be compliant, be nice, be polite, and use the skills that you have in general for interacting with people in a way that is heart-centered, and be the friend that they don't have there. I spent my time alone writing and reading because it was freezing and I wasn't allowed to wear my blanket out. And this apparently is too dangerous because it has a zipper or something. I don't know. I was cold the entire time. My fingers were blue. But I stayed in my bed a lot with a blanket around me because I was not allowed to leave the bedroom with the blanket because that was dangerous. Everything is just dangerous, apparently. And when I could, I would just talk to people or really just be a listener. Just be a listener. I did have my husband visited me and I asked him to bring my tarot deck. I did only do a couple tarot readings for a couple people. I didn't try to make it a thing because I didn't want to put any sort of like my belief system out into big things because like tarot can be triggering for people. I didn't want to cause that. I kind of just wanted to be the quiet in the corner but still speaking to people as kindly as I could person. And doing that filled my cup in more ways than even, the other coping tools possibly could, because I'm a person who likes to help and likes to heal and likes to just be the friend that you need in that moment. So there's a purpose to everything. My purpose for going there was to re-encode that experience so that it wasn't traumatizing anymore. If anything, it's a story that I will, I don't know, tell with more jokes. But I also got Scout back online. I have my little sister again. And not as a channeled state, because I was channeling her. I was, but she wasn't embodied. She was... The information I get is like other-sided with like an asterisk, because time just isn't what we think it is. It's especially when you have multiple internal parts, you're on different timelines, technically. I mean, we all kind of span numerous timelines, but with DID, you're actively carrying multiple timelines that will need to converge. And when they do, there is the integration of that alter state out so that that timeline is no longer for you. But I've been dragging Scout's timeline under here. So we are synced back up. Solitary timeline together as this. Fantastic. What about yours? I am not part of that due to the fractaled nature of where I am and how. Am in child-seated state. Okay. That's another thing. Yep. Gaia. One of the altars in here. Now, during the channeling, it's full higher state Gaia, but Gaia herself is making her way, transitioning from where things were to the everywhere by sort of, how would you call it, Gaia? I am experiencing my lifetimes in various humans in the now moment as I transition out of the planet itself. I'm guessing if you found my content, you probably have like the potential for a little Gaia there too. So just letting you know that now in case you weren't aware. If you're still watching this, yeah, this is me telling you, has it occurred? No. They will need to go through a number of integrations and will have to make conscious choices to channel me before I can ever become an alter state inside of you. I don't know if that excites you or terrifies you. I will say, if you got an alter state of Gaia in here, you're gonna have to be at least mostly plant-based. I have gotten to have cheese today. We've had celebratory cheese, pizza, and mozzarella sticks. Cause Scout requirement for me. Okay, yeah. So like once a week or so, we'll have a day where we're just eating cheese of some sort, probably a little bit. So we're mostly vegan. And she just said, if there's more, basically, once we can find good vegan cheese, she's fine with letting go of cheese. I'm okay with no cheese. But she's like 4, so she's a kid. Like that's the thing. I wanted some of my family back. Oh, and getting them on the mediumship lines is fine, but you have to tune in. You have to channel it in. No, Scout is here. She's fucking back. She's not going to be doing things on camera. Um, I there is still other things with this, but no, not for other things. Can do it as the puppet. Not now. No, but I want to say can do it as the puppet. Okay, because that's not her voice. That's me channeling her out, and she is talking here. Hi. Okay. Oh, fuck. You have no idea how good it is to feel your little sister come back into her space. Basically, everything I had to go through the last 2 weeks was to get her here. And all I can say is fucking worth it. Worth it. I'm sure that people will have stories about me if I do in fact. I mean, I'm an unknown person. You're one of less than 40 people, right? That know anything about me. I do see myself on stages with people that I admire in ways that are so fucking weird. But even that, I don't care. I mean, I do care. I want it badly, but I'm a we. But like truly a we and get to stay this way. It's not something that's typical, and even when I talk to Gaia, there's sort of a like, yeah, this isn't typically how it's done. Ascension, spiritual awakenings and staying multiple. It's not usually done. And if you do go through a similar kind of initiation with yours, you might have to just be one of you for a while. So whoever it is that's basically the most resilient or possibly the most new, that was my case. You might have to just be a little bit alone for a while and have to live like that. And you might love it. If you love it, awesome. You don't have to get anybody back online. I hated it. I hated it so much. I basically traded mm, typicality for getting her back online. And in doing so, kind of just created the well, there's 3 of us with 2 actually like rotating cast member potentials, because that's what we are now. We are a system of 5. It seems to be the most stable, where the 3 of us are the main 3 and the other 2 are for whatever it is that will basically most help to magnetize the next big pivots that are needed, because they're just it's been a long journey from being where we were to even where I am now to wherever it is we're going. um I am living a life of service. We are living a life of service. We always have been, but now it's kind of been amped up, you know? Doing spiritual work just kind of does that. And Scout's not going to be talking on here because she's kind of operating the same way that we always used to, which was she only ever spoke to Randy. Only her husband, daddy to her. Um, and today's like the first day that even is, I mean, not the first day, because she had a temper tantrum with me 2 days ago when I was really not believing that she was here, because was not willing to let anyone there hear her, or I would not be out today. I would not be out today if we had even remotely talked about our little, nobody there understood. You know how I know? When I had a very flippant, oh, I understand what DID is from the doctor, followed by, and your personalities, like, that's how you fucking know. use terminology that no one with DID uses. That's how we know. We're all astute as fuck because we have to be very aware at all times. And also, we have all the perspectives of everything you could possibly have at all times. Oh, people don't understand what we are. And fuck them. I understand what we are. You clearly seem to at least be interested or also understand. Putting this out today on the 11th to celebrate our return home because I left as myself, and indeed, Gaia was also already to her point because she's a fractal. Like, there's a little bit of a hierarchy in our system. That's just kind of how it needs to be for our purposes. Every system is different, and finding the path that gets you to who y'all want to be, it's slower than you want. It just is. It's slower than you want. But if you can keep following the next right thing feeling and keep having the internal conversations and the conscious choices by those who want to stay, that's the path forward. Who is it that wants to stay? And those that want to leave, okay, how can we make ceremony of integrations? Because you might not integrate them out fully physically, and you might have to still go through some trauma loops of experiences. If you keep having the same kinds of experiences, it's because they're not fully integrated out yet. But that's a body job, not a mental job. The best you can do is just the best you can do with what you have and who you're with and whatever it is that you can create while you're kind of just in the waiting room of as rapid of integration as you can get. For me, 2 years, roughly. And I did it in a deeply accelerated way that basically had me completely let go of everything in my life. Even now, I've had those visions. I've had visions of death, of my husband, of my dog, of my house. I've gotten to a place of acceptance on all of those simply because I have no idea what the future holds, but I've continued to take my next right steps, and they continue to lead in the direction that I want. And yeah, sometimes I end up in the psych ward. And even there, I got to be grateful for the fact that the people that worked there, for the most part, were really kind and compassionate and nice and helpful. That the people I interacted with were people who had all kinds of stories. Got reading done, got writing done. I don't know what's next for us either. I just know that we're home now, and I don't know, y'all. I'm scared of the fact that I have a fractal of Gaia in here, because fuck, but she took over Marva's spot. It's fine. I traded one super opinionated sister for someone having her. Okay, you did not make a trade. I am simply the newest alter formation, next to Scout. I was part of her coming back online. We three are sisters. You are officially the eldest. Scout will not age developmentally beyond 4. Do not let her lie and say she's having a 5th birthday. And my purpose is simply to keep you both aligned in your shared timeline navigations and to provide easier access to channeling me from the higher self planes. This is not my first time stepping in to co-front with humans. There are many who currently are a part of my now moment lifetimes. She just told me, don't worry about making it perfect. Just know that I'm here. And she prefers no cheese. So, Scout, you're outnumbered 2-1. Sorry. Sorry, honey. You're outnumbered. Only wants the cheese when it is a day of celebration and really wants to try better pizza. Fair. That's fair. That's fair. Well, we'll find some vegan pizza that you'll actually like. How about that? Not, don't believe that at all. Okay. Oh, so that's what's going on with us. um, yeah, that's what's going on with us. Um, it's 2:11 on 2:11, and I feel like this is a really good place to stop because I just wanted to get all of this out and, you know, just somewhere. I'm really grateful that you're here. I'm really grateful that you're watching. This is my channel. I mean, like it all comes through, it all comes out, but you're mainly going to be hearing from me. Um, Plan on doing more with Zuzu and Proxy and Charlie and Guest, and just with the podcast and other things. But this was a big life event, you know. It's going to take a lot of integration, and I want to type up my poems. I want to get them. I want to get them book ready because I can publish a book in a day. I mean, I'm not going to. This will be a few days at least, but whatever you're dealing with yourself, it's going to be okay. And I hope that you see this before any kind of big thing happens that might have you completely not able to live the normal life that you've been living, so that you can just take that time and just remember there is a reason for everything that you go through, and you don't get to know what it is basically until you're done, until you're on the other side of it or something. So while you're in it, make the best of what you can. I complained so much that I had a tiny fucking golf pencil to write with instead of my beautiful Uniball. And I still wrote my next book. I'm not saying that as like a braggy thing. I say it as no, that was my coping tool. I just used my frustration to get me to start doing something that I really loved doing while I waited, because I was stuck. And sometimes you're just stuck. Anything else from anybody else? You want a guide? No. Okay. Well, that's it for me. I feel like I need to start signing everything as Charlie River Morrow et al., and I might be making that the way in which future books are published with. That's my official author name, Charlie River Morrow et al., because Scout's already claimed the river. So her name's still Scout, not River, but she's kind of claimed it as hers. So, and Gaia doesn't want a name because or Gaia's kind of prototype. I'll leave you with this. Gaia's sort of prototyping the now moment humanness as far as having, you know, adult alter formation, because everyone thinks this is just something that happens in childhood. No. Mm-mm. Everyone's been through enough trauma at this point. We all have little bits and pieces of available space for Gaia to just share her transition lifetime with you. But it is a conscious choice thing. She doesn't just pop into people. Well, if you need to survive physically, that is what will happen. It's what happened here. She was mostly online, and that was to aid and create the foundation and internal structure to ensure that Scout and she could come out at the same time. Which was Groundhog Day. I apparently need to, February the 2nd. So that's why the 6 more weeks. Integration of rebirth, of new. 6 weeks. There is a lot of growth, and there will be more difficulties. We have you. We will not be quite as impacted as you. This is why it's good to have an internal team. I have missed this feeling of co-fronting. It's not the same as channeling, not even a little bit. All right. Once again, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for being here. Patreon.com/Miriam'sQuest if you're liking whatever it is I put out into the world and wanting to support me. Us. I'm excited to see what we do with Miriam's Quest now, too. Oh, we've been helping the whole time. Okay, well. Cool. Just... I'm so happy to be home. I'm so happy to have y'all here. I'm happy that you're here, too. Okay. More videos at some point. Okay. Bye. Love you.